So wrestlers have like this gypsy, like, wait, transient. That's what you people prefer to be called, right? Transient.
Yeah, I think the term gypsy is actually romantic. I don't think it's offensive.
But is that a word that only you people can use? And like, I couldn't say it because it's offensive?
It wouldn't offend me, but in the society we live in, yeah, I would stay away from it.
All right. Well, because with your job, you're able to be so transient.
Yes, bohemian.
Bohemian.
Yeah.
And like kind of where you work and what you do. And every weekend essentially is gone, right? And some weeknights. So you have to do you just have like crap jobs in between? Like, hey, I'm going to pick up a couple shifts at a restaurant, or I'm going to be a trainer at a gym, or like, how does that work?
That's pretty much how it works. If there's a job that you can take that will get you by while you struggle at like your side gig or starving artist gig, which is professional wrestling for us, you'll just kind of take it. Like, hopefully you'll find a job that fits in some aspect.
How do you just not like Jerry Maguire a job? You know, somebody said something like, you know what? I don't need it, so I'm leaving. Because people with normal jobs, the thing that keeps them going back to work every day is like, well, I really got to pay rent, and like, I've got kids. Well, kids that I claim responsibility for. I know you're in a different boat there, but I mean, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. So honestly, I don't know if I've had a job where I wasn't just on the verge of quitting and just saying, you know what? Don't need you because I had this other thing. Even when I did need the job, I always just let them think like, I don't need you. I can quit this job at any second.
It's just like how you keep your girlfriend really into you, right? Just know I could leave at any point in time.
Yeah, I could leave any moment.
Oh man, house doesn't look very clean. That's interesting.
Exactly. But one of those jobs I did Jerry Maguire was when I worked at the Vitamin Shop quite a long time ago now. And that was a job, it was a pretty sweet job, Pete, I'm not going to lie, because I was trying to get more into health and fitness. That coincided with wrestling. I got to learn about all this stuff. I'm already a very intelligent guy. So I got to study and learn things about nutrition and supplements. I got to work with some really awesome people. And I had the job for like 2 years until the day I just said I'm not coming in anymore.
That's got to be like one of the longest term jobs you've had like in recent years, isn't it?
You know, I have a rule where I don't want a job more than 2 years. That's just what I think. My forward progression gets like stunted if you're at a place longer than 2 years. That being said, I've been working part-time at this gym for 4 years now. With the exception of the year I've taken off accumulative, like in this time, like I'll leave for a month or two, I'll leave for 6 months, I'll leave for 2 months, and then I get to just come back because my boss loves me and I'm a master trainer.
Master something. But so this job, Hawkins Supplements, what was up with that?
Yeah, so to long story short, this part of the job, I got hired. It was a really cool job, but it was in a super busy part of town. And we had this boss who was just a little bit out there, like a little hard to deal with, totally OCD. And she was there for a year and she left. And when she left to take like a promotion, still in the company, my good friend, the other assistant manager, got promoted to manager. And it was super awesome because I was working for a good friend. And then the whole unit of us working there were just awesome, like real tight. Everyone was real cool. Even the guy who made up stories all the time, like the reason he was 20 minutes late yesterday was he just did an overnight from Cuba where he did under the covers work for Homeland Security. Even he was okay.
But was he really doing that though?
I don't know, but some terrorist act happened when we were there, and you better believe that Ben was like all over that. Like he had to work so many extra hours in all these different locations to try and secure our nation.
And then he just hung out at the supplement shop.
Yeah, his mom also died twice in a year.
Wow.
Poor guy.
Dang, that's tough. I mean, You think you had it bad when your parents died maybe the one time. Just like, wow.
Poor guy. Anyway, so one day I was talking with my old boss who came in, like she was above us now. She came in and was like, oh, hey, just so you know, like we might be firing Kirsten soon, who was my friend, who was our manager, who was doing an awesome job, by the way. Like upper management just didn't like us all because the store was ran by young people and we didn't seem to care about the job so much. Like it wasn't life or death if something gets screwed up at Vitamin Shop, you know? So they really hated us for that.
You don't understand. You got to take this seriously, dog.
Like, what is there to take seriously? Like, we didn't burn the store down. We're making you money. Somehow we're getting by.
It's like spring break.
Oh. So my old boss was like, oh, hey, so we might be letting Kirsten go soon. What would you think about that? And I was like, well, I'm gonna tell you what. If that happens, everyone here is gonna quit immediately. Like, we're in this together. And she's like, oh yeah, sure. I was like, no, for real though. We will all quit immediately. And she's like, oh, well, what would you do? I was like, well, I really want to go wrestle in Europe. So I guess I would just quit and go to Europe. You know what, Pete? She didn't believe me.
I almost wonder, that's got to be one of those situations, like for a normal person, you'd be like, all right, let's see where this goes. You think you're so tough. Like, all right. It's almost like a dare.
Dude, anytime I say that I will do something and someone calls me out on it, I do it. Doesn't matter what it is. And I know you're the same way.
Right. I might not have done it otherwise, but since you said, bullshit, no, you won't. All right, then.
Yeah. Now that you've questioned me, like, you question my intentions, well, I have to do it.
Right.
I have to do it.
Because I'm a man of integrity, dang it.
Yeah. My word is my bond. So, I don't know, 4 weeks later, 6 weeks later, something like that happens. I'm out of town at a show, so I don't have to work a lot of weekends. Like, I was able to get in this job where I was like, oh, hey, just so you know, I am not working weekends. Can't do it ever. I was like, occasionally Saturday morning for a few hours, but then I have to go wrestle. So it's going to be further away. I got to be out of here by like noon. So I'm at a show that afternoon. I don't even remember where it was. And I get a phone call, and it's my old boss. She's like, oh, hey, so we just fired Kirsten. Will you be in on Monday? I was like, no. You can take this as my official resignation. I was like, and just so you know, everyone else there is going to quit. Fun fact, like, everyone will quit. She's like, oh, well, I hope that's not the case. Like, well, tough, because that's what's going to happen.
You were forewarned. I feel guilty, not at all.
Yeah, and I told her, I was like, all right. So she asked me, so what are you going to do? And she meant, job-wise. I'm like, well, Deb, I guess I have to go to Europe now.
You made me do this.
Yeah, I guess I have to. So, you know what I did, Pete? Bought myself some tickets to Europe.
Oh, I was going to assume you called Deb crying on Tuesday asking for your job back.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it.
Well, this is a twist.
But no. Yeah, so just, I wanted to go anyway. Like, I wanted to go to Europe to wrestle for a long time. I'd only wrestled in the US and Canada. And I talked to some people in Europe, like, back and forth. There's a bunch of places I want to go. So ever since I was in middle school, I super wanted to go to Norway. That was just like the place I wanted to go for whatever reason. And I was like, yeah, that's going to be great. Like, I'd even like studied some of the language. It's something I was real big into, like Scandinavian and Norse mythology. All that sounded awesome. So I went ahead and put together an itinerary. I went Dublin, then London, then Bergen, Norway, which is on the west coast, and then Oslo, Norway, obviously the capital, on the east coast. And then I was going to go to Denmark.
I like how you say obviously, like anybody knows anything about Norway.
Yeah.
Like in general.
You don't know the geography? You don't know the exact location of all these places, Pete?
No. Although, I think we ought to start selling maps.
Well, I went to university, so.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Hey, you, what up?
Yeah. So I put all this stuff together, and I was like, all right, sweet. So, and I went ahead and I told the girlfriend at the time, I was like, hey, we're going to do this now. This is where we're going. She's like, oh, okay.
Because you gave her the threat. If you don't do this.
Yeah, I will quit.
I will leave you right now.
I will quit.
Call my bluff.
So we go ahead and we pack our bags and we just head to Europe. And by the way, we also planned this whole trip just out of backpacks. So we went and both got backpacks, but then last second I switched mine to like a tiny duffel bag.
Well, how long is this trip?
I don't know, 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
So you're living a little over a month out of a backpack.
Yep.
How do you even do that?
I'm pretty crafty. And I've done this like 6 times for a month since. Like, I will travel with just a backpack or with like the smallest duffel bag possible, just because it's fiscally responsible, number one. Like, I don't want to pay money for all these other check bags and carry-ons and stuff like that. And you don't really need to pack with much anyway. Like, you don't really need things. Just wear some clothes that you can like wash once or twice while you're there, and you'll be fine. Plus, I'm also traveling with wrestling gear, and that takes up a decent amount of space. So really, I don't take anything else.
Makes sense, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. So we get over there. A lot of shenanigans like happen as we get over there because I've never went international before like this, and we have no idea what we're doing. So I was like, okay, in my head, it's like it's gonna be hostels, it's gonna be couch surfing, all the stuff like I'm completely cool with. She didn't super feel comfortable with that, so it didn't quite work out that way.
Your Renee Zellweger was not into it?
Yeah, so it didn't exactly work that way. But there like some funny stories still came of it. So like the funniest being the fact that we get to Oslo, Norway, and we can't find a place to stay, and everything in Norway is super expensive.
Well, because it's Oslo, the capital city. I mean...
Yeah, it was just on the east.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Yeah, who doesn't? So we get there, and I even look around, and I'm like searching on my phone. I don't have phone service either, which I always travel without cell phone service. Because why? Like, I don't need my phone. I don't much like my phone anyway. So we're like stealing Wi-Fi from anywhere we can steal Wi-Fi.
Because I didn't want Deb to call me and know that.
Yeah, like my phone,
my job.
My phone. I changed my voicemail to "God damn it, Deb, I'm not coming back to work. I'm in Europe." Yeah. So we ended up finding the cheapest hotel, and then I find like the 2 buses to get there, and it's a real pain to get there, and it's raining and terrible outside. But we eventually find the hotel, right? And I'm like, we walk in the front desk. I'm like, hey, these are reservations. I'm like, oh, actually, this isn't the Radisson you want. You want the Radisson Blue. It's like 30 minutes across town.
Shout out Radisson for being so accommodating.
I'm pretty sure that was the Radisson Blue. So then from there, we steal the Wi-Fi from the hotel. We're like, all right, it's like this bus to this bus. So we take that bus to that bus. And then we get to that area, but then we can't find the hotel at all. Like, it's nowhere to be found. We go into a convenience store and we ask the person for like directions. And the person doesn't speak any English. So no help at all.
But
so,
you studied the language, bro.
Yeah, enough to say, do you speak English? I speak a little bit of Norwegian. Jeg forstår litt norsk, Pete.
Boom.
Litt. And so we're chilling, and we just like look as sad as humanly possible. Just two pitiful individuals, like rain is like soaked, like rain covered. And this taxi driver comes up to us and is like, "Oh, where do you need to go?" We're like, this hotel." She's like, "Okay, hop in." I'm like, "No, we don't have money." Because we ended up staying in some hotels because I was planning for hostels and I was planning for couch surfing, which are like no money. And we've been staying in hotels, which is money we don't have. I just quit my job. So
you don't remember from earlier in the story.
Yeah, I just quit my job. So we have like a 10-minute back and forth with this taxi driver. I was like, "No, hop in." I'm like, "No, we don't have money." And eventually, like, he gets in the car to drive away and drives like 2 feet and stops and then reverses. And it's like, "All right, just get in. It's free." And he's saying this in the barely English he knows too. He's not Norwegian, but he's saying that in the little bit of English he knows. So he takes us there, and we check in or whatever, and that was all cool.
And the greatest Radisson experience you've ever had.
Yeah, the Radisson Fornebu. I highly recommend it. It wasn't super easy to get to, actually. I don't recommend it. It wasn't in downtown Oslo, I'll tell you that.
I tell you what, though, if the price is right, we can re-record this episode, Radisson, if you're listening.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to give me 2 free nights in Oslo or something, I'll go to either one. No, and just to throw a little bit more into that story too. So before I left the States, like right after I got fired, I'd message a bunch of companies. So I got 2 shows. I got two bookings over there. I was like, okay, that's going to help a lot. Like, that'll take care of a good chunk of this trip, and that'll be sweet. But I messaged like 12 companies. I'm like, all right, I got to try and get as many shows as possible. I messaged this company in Norway though, and they kind of just blew me off. Like, the promoter just didn't want anything to do with me. Probably thought I wasn't going to show up or something. Which
he debbed you? This guy isn't going to show up.
Yeah, he didn't trust me. I was a man of my word. But he didn't know that. I'd never quit on him before. So I was like, all right, well, and I eventually got to the point where I just told the promoter, like, I'm going to be at your show. Like, I will be there. It doesn't matter. So just please use me. I was like, you know what? I'll just go ahead and message some of the wrestlers and just see if I can make friends and see if they can help me out. So I messaged the champion, And we start talking a little bit back and forth. I send him some of my matches. He's super cool.
I assume it was Thor, right?
Yeah, exactly. And eventually, the night before the show, the promoter sends me a message. It's like, oh, hey, if you're going to be around tomorrow, we have a spot for you. And then I found out at the show that the champion of the company and a group of other wrestlers had gotten together like the night before, and one dude was going to be late. And he was like, oh, just give the American dude my spot because he came all this way. So they put me on the show, and I killed it, and all those dudes love me, and I have like an open invite back anytime I want. So that's pretty cool. Then the next week, we went to Sweden. Not to gloss over things, we went to Dublin, and that was super bad, super cool. Went to London, didn't like it at all.
Shout out London.
Yeah, London.
You guys suck.
I've been to London twice now for like a week at a time, and man, I don't like London. But Dublin's the best.
Look, London, be better. Unless the London Tourism Commission would like to pay us. Then,
yeah, if they want to take me places for free, I'm more than willing. And I will talk about Dublin later because I made friends with my buddy Connor then, and Connor's a pivotal part of a story for another day.
And of course, his name is Connor. It's got to be. Isn't everyone from Dublin named Connor?
Connor with one N. Yeah. Oh, side note, yeah, everyone walking the streets of Ireland looks like Conor McGregor.
Because they all
Conor
are.
McGregor. Yeah, he's actually an idea. He's actually a conglomerate of people like Shakespeare. He's not one human.
He's beautiful.
Yeah. So those were cool too. Those started the trip. But then we end up pretty much going to Copenhagen and take a train right across the pond to Sweden. And where I actually had a show where they promoted me and were super hyped that I was going to be there. They treated me awesomely. So I go to this show in Sweden. At the show, I'm in a tag team match wrestling against a promoter for a show in Denmark the next day, who, much like the promoter in Norway, had blown me off for like weeks, had wanted nothing to do with me. So even before I wrestled him, I was like, hey man, just to let you know, I'm going to be at your show tomorrow in Copenhagen. Please use me. He's like, and blew me off and walked away. So I'm like, all right, man, well, I'm going to give you the match of your career tonight. I'm going to show you what I can do. And I did. Apparently, it was the match of the year in Sweden for that year. I just found that out a few months ago. But this badass tag match. And then right after the match, the dude comes right up to me. The promoter was like, hey, man, you're still going to make it tomorrow, right? Because I got all these ideas for you. I got the perfect idea for you.
Hopefully hit him with I don't know.
Yeah, actually, no, I'm a little busy tomorrow, man. Actually, there's a sweet park just down the road here. There was a sweet park just down the road from this place in Sweden. So American kids are idiots, I guess.
For sure.
And their parents are sue happy, right? Not unlike William the Pumpkin Destroyer. So parks in other countries have awesome stuff. Like super high, kind of dangerous stuff. There was this thing that looked like a Christmas tree, but it was like a rope ladder, like spider web thing. And you could climb that sucker up like 75 feet. It was awesome.
But you could definitely die.
Yeah, you could totally die. But you know who's not going to die? Swedish kids.
Makes sense. They're durable.
Yeah. And you know who's going to die? American kids. And whose parents are going to sue? American parents. Not in Europe. In Europe, parenting's done differently. So I showed up at the show the next day, which was really cool. I had a really good match that day, too, where I worked with a Danish fellow, and I worked with an Italian fellow, and I'm an American fellow. So there's a language difference here, like 3 different languages, actually. We had a super cool match, which I can take credit for calling and everything like that. And it actually made me good buddies with the Danish wrestler who's actually bringing me over to Denmark in like 2 weeks to wrestle. How cool is that, Pete? Full circle.
See what happened there? That's how you tell a story.
Also, I had a show in Finland the next week I was supposed to do. And they messaged me and they're like, oh, hey, man, we had venue issues. We rescheduled the show. It's a week later now. Can you still make it? I was like, nah.
Nah, man, I start back at the vitamin shop Monday.
Yeah, I start back at the vitamin shop next Tuesday, so I'm not going to make it. Which, by the way, is like Finland now is on the top of the list of places I want to wrestle. I've been booked there before, and it didn't happen. And I've messaged other companies several times, and it didn't happen. And on this upcoming trip that I'm going on very soon, I was trying to get it to happen. Didn't happen, Pete.
Well, it's really a disservice to Finland that you would withhold like that, or hold out. That's the one I mean.
Dude, there's such a heavy metal culture. They should look at a guy like me and just take to me, man. By the way, you don't know reactions, like crowd reactions, until you hear the reaction I got in Sweden and I got in Norway and I got in Denmark. A guy like me fits in there, Pete. They know one of their own.
What, with your face and whatnot? Your beard?
I'm very Viking, very pirate-esque. And they can relate to that. They know I'm not a poser, Pete.
Will you please bring a pirate gimmick?
Yeah, actually, a friend of mine's working on a shirt for me that's like a pirate-themed Jake Omen shirt. It's going to look pretty sweet.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yep.
So, Jake Omen takes to the sky shortly for a trip, eh?
Absolutely.
Where you'll be bringing, like, what, a fanny pack and you'll MacGyver everything into it, or what?
Yeah, a man person, a fanny pack for a couple weeks. That's all I need. Yeah, no, I'll be taking, I don't know if I'll be taking my patented duffel bag on this trip. I might actually take a small roller bag on this trip.
Man, that's upscale, dog.
But I think I'm actually going to get into video blogging. I think some people want to see some of my trips. I've been to Europe twice now. I've been to Japan like 4 times now, for almost a combined year. And then I go to all these places all the time. So I think I'm actually going to start putting together videos so people can see and follow along with me. And one of those videos I think I'm going to film before I go, like as a test run, is to how I pack 4 or 5 weeks worth of stuff into a tiny bag. So
into my man purse.
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in that, that will be on the YouTube quite soon.
Where at? I mean, the YouTube's a big place.
Yeah, I'm Omen Wrestling on YouTube. So you could probably look that up. I don't know. Maybe in the title I'll put Jake Omen Packs for Europe. That's not enough to get hits, is it?
Ooh, yeah, we're gonna need buzzwords, keywords. If there are any suggestions, hit them up in the comments. Like, if you're a YouTube connoisseur, what words is it you search?
Yeah, iPhone Wanderlust, Omen Travel Backpack.
Dude,
yeah,
that's the thing.
I got it.
Boom.
All right, so thanks again for listening. This is going great so far. Getting some good reviews. If you want to rate, subscribe, review, all that, put us over on any social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Off the Cliff Pod. We are obviously at iTunes. That's how you're listening. That's the only way to listen, actually. So you already know that one.
Apple elitist.
But yeah, you just go ahead and let us know what you think. I'm also at Jake Omen 2012 on everything. Pete is at